The crazy thing, though, we were in the air, and he's like, yeah, if anything goes wrong, like, you take the air parachute because there's only one, and, I'll just go down with the plane. I'm like, what?
Dude, that's...
I would have put that on immediately. I would have been like, all right, cool, I'm down with that. Click, click.
Okay, which one do I pull real quick?
Unleashed with the Dingo and Danny. Fueled by Monster Energy.
What's up, you crazy fuck?
Just chilling, just hanging out with my friends,
Yeah, with the boys?
Yeah. What's going on with you?
Just, is there like a stain on your pants down there?
Ooh. It looks like some of my sandwich fell down there. I'm a grub. This is why I can't wear white things. But it looks like I made a stain on my black pants. Great. I got to wear these tonight, too. Oh, well.
Dude, so Andy Buckworth is here with us. Andy is one of the gnarliest, I think, BMXs ever to live.
Thank you.
And you've one of the longest running, I think, Nitro Circus people.
Correct, yeah. My first Nitro Circus show was the first Nitro Circus show in 2010. April 2010, I think, in Brisbane, Australia.
Whoa. How old were you then?
I was 20.
20?
Yeah, so I've been...
Jeez, he looks great for his age.
He looks better than us.
Yeah. Because I just do the stationary bike. I don't think it's working for me. I think I need to get off of that thing.
Were you one of the first guys to, continuously do double backflips on a BMX?
No, I was the second guy to do double front flips continuously.
Okay.
And that's what solidified my spot on the Nitro Circus tour.
Right.
I was already supposed to be on tour, but then the fact that I was willing to do that trick every single night obviously solidified my spot on tour. For the first, 4 years, I was just doing that multiple times a night, every show around the world. And yeah, that's kind of what kept me on tour the whole beginning. And then once you're there, you're kind of just part of the woodwork.
So when you say most consistent on double front flips,
yeah,
what percentage is that?
Well, for the
say
first...
like out of 10 tries, you're getting...
out of 10, you're doing 9. You land 9.
What happens when you don't land?
So the crazy thing about double front flips is on that particular jump, and same with Mega Ramp, X Games Mega Ramp, the rotation really isn't the problem. It's just that once you pick up that rotation speed, you can't slow it down. And the margin for error is super fine. So when you come in like an airplane landing, if you don't land on the perfect part of the tire, you go out the back. And then if you stay in the rotation too long, the margin for landing is so small, you're just going to go over the handlebars. And if you go over the handlebars, you're super likely to separate shoulders, break collarbones, smash your teeth in, etc. So, I mean, for the first, I don't even know, 4 years of touring, I was doing double front flips all the time. I would do it second jump of the day for breakfast kind of thing. Just come in and do it, and I was super confident with it. But then we were in Sweden, and I tried a double front flip. I tried it first jump, actually. I was like, I bet I can do this. So I just did it first jump, and I just didn't get the distance and didn't get the landing perfectly. And I sat in the back tire, which spat me over the handlebars, and I landed on the back of my head. And I ended up, we didn't know this at the time, but my legs were numb and I couldn't stand up. But we just kind of, that went away, and I just had tremendous pain, and I had all sorts of strange symptoms for the next couple of weeks. But when I got back to Australia, I got checked out, and it turned out I had torn a spot in my dura, which is the protective fluid around the spinal cord. So I was super close to ending it all right there, and I had no idea. I spent the next 3 weeks in Europe just kind of limping around, walking around in tremendous pain. I wasn't able to ride that tour because of the pain. And I guess the dura is kind of your equilibrium. So every time I'd stand up, I'd just get migraines and I'd throw up, and we didn't know what was going on. And being all over Europe in non-English speaking countries, we couldn't really get a definitive answer. And then it wasn't until I got back to Australia and found out that I had such a substantial injury. And that was kind of the turning point for the double front flip for me. I kind of had a blind spot in my muscle memory on how to do it, and was just scared of it for a really long time. So,
wow.
Yeah.
How was it traveling? Was Travis a big part of it back in those early days?
Yeah, those early days were insane. So when you're traveling, the world and Travis Pastrana's with you, everything is just handed to you on a silver platter. It's like we get to a town in New Zealand and then people are like, hey, do you guys want to come drive our jet boats? It's like, sure. Hey, do you guys want to come to our bungee jump, skydiving, jet ski playground? Yeah, sure. Like, and you want to come to our luge? And like every different activity was just kind of handed to you on a silver platter because Travis was there. So we got to do like all the most insane things in New Zealand, all over Europe, just doing the coolest activities because Travis there. And like, I know you guys know what it's like to be around Travis Pastrana. He's a wildcat and there's never a dull moment.
Was it like, because I've heard people that have like, you know, gone like to be around him at certain times, or you go to his property, or you go to like, and obviously being on tour with him, he's always trying to push the ante, right? Like he knows how to poke the bear.
Absolutely. Like if you go to Travis's house, you've got probably like I would say 7 out of 10 chance you're leaving injured. And whether it's like leaving in an ambulance injured or leaving just like sprained ankle, broken wrist, broken arm, broken collarbone, or knocked your teeth out or something.
That's just like a mellow slam for Travis.
Yeah, that's just
I feel like
Travis. He's just a freak of nature, man. Like he's so hyperactive, high strung, raddest dude to be around. He's kind of like a grown up human Labrador puppy. Just let's do everything right now. Let's do it all right this second.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
let's jump out of an airplane. Okay, great.
I didn't bring my parachute, but let's do it anyway.
Let's do it. Cool. We can both use mine. Are you sure?
Hey, you're going to catch me, right?
I'll hold on to you, and you can wear it. Okay.
I really hope you're going to catch me because I already jumped.
Yeah.
Growing up, like, as like because, you know, growing up in a small town, Australia, growing up in Australia, it's crazy because, like, we're all a little bit loose, I feel like, right? And when did you first start coming to America?
I came when I was 17. I came for 2 weeks, did the Woodward camp thing, and that was what, changed my life completely, that 2 weeks in America. Yeah.
Did you, how did you grow up riding BMX? Like, were you like a racer or?
So it all changed towards the end of 1999. We went down to the Blockbuster, because that's what kids used to do back in the day before the internet.
R.I.P. to Blockbuster, eh?
Right. Well,
there's still one. No, I heard the one in Alaska closed.
Oh, no.
I saw them. They did a story on it, and John Oliver went and bought like all their merch from the last Blockbuster ever, which was in Alaska.
That's unbelievable.
We had Blockbuster?
We did, but we also had Video Easy. Remember
Video Easy, dude. That was the jam.
Yeah, shout out to Video Easy. But
what did you have in Jersey?
We had Blockbuster. Yeah, we had Blockbusters. And then there was just like those other like super ghetto like video rental stores.
Yeah, like the mom and pop ones. Mom and pop ones are sick because they had you go back to the video, like the adult section. The adult section in the mom and pop video stores was tight. As a kid, you're picking up the VHS. Like that
looking,
was like
looking at the thumbnails on the back.
Yeah, that was as close as you could get to looking at nude chicks.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, in 1999, it was a rainy day, and my cousin and I went down to the Blockbuster.
Wait, so where in Sydney did you grow up?
I lived in the Central Coast.
Central Coast.
North of Sydney, about an hour and a half.
So kind of middle of nowhere.
Kind of middle
Close
of nowhere.
to Byron Bay.
No, that's way north.
Way north. So you're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Kind of in between Sydney and Newcastle.
Yeah, right. Newcastle's sick.
So rainy day, we go and rent
Pretty
video, and it was called like Mad Dingo or something, which is funny because you and me are both Dingo.
Yeah, right. There we go.
And
his nickname was Dingo too.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Jamie Bestwick had me named as Dingo for my whole beginning of my career, so we kind of share that.
Whoa, and that was probably right around the same time you became the Dingo.
Yeah,
because you probably became Dingo-ish like 2002-ish.
Yeah. When did you become Dingo?
I came Dingo in 2008.
Yeah, fucking copycat. Bestwick's like,
hey, he's the Dingo.
Bestwick's not the smartest tool in this shit.
If you want to check out Dingo on Instagram, it's at the Dingo and Snow, and you could
thanks,
be
man.
at the Dingo and Dirt.
Yeah,
right? Or at the
Could be.
Dingo on Wheels.
Should we check? I don't think that's taken.
So we get this VHS, and it had BMX in it, and we were just like, yo, let's get BMX bikes for Christmas. And my mom was like, absolutely not. And then my dad was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So I got a BMX bike. We started racing.
What was it?
I got a Mosh. It was
My
like
first was a Haro, I think.
that's a pretty good first bike.
Pretty good first bike.
See, Mosh is like a branch off the Giant bicycles brand. Yeah, so it was
right.
like their BMX line.
Yeah.
So we started racing, and I just wanted to be in the air the whole time. I just, instead of trying to go fast, I was just trying to go high on all the jumps and take my feet off and hands, and racing wasn't really my jam. But they ended up building a skate park. Like, I could see it from my house. So the school bus would drop me off, and I would just run. I would run off the bus into my house and just try to be at the skate park before the school bus drove past the skate park. So like I could be like, I don't know, doing a flip or something while the school bus went past. But that was way later down the track. But so I raced for a year and then just kind of did the BMX thing over and over again, just different skate parks. And my mom was awesome, drove me night and day to all these different skate parks. And then turns out that there was another super gnarly shredder in my town, like seriously, like 10 minutes from my house. And that rider is Jay Toohey, and he's now an X Games medalist and a staple in the Nitro Circus Tour, inventor of hundreds of world firsts. And yeah, he's probably one of the best BMX riders ever to live. And we kind of grew up in the same town. And I think that is the recipe for greatness in sport, is having a rival and someone to push you. And like, he learns a trick, I've got to learn a trick, I learn a trick, he's trying to learn my trick, I'm trying to learn his trick. You're pushing each other all through those early years, and we kind of just have been sentenced to follow each other through this.
Did you guys get along?
We got along really well, but our parents were more rivals than what we are. Like, taking us to all the little amateur competitions, and they were like, who's going to win kind of thing. And, and like we were like kind of battling against each other. But Jay and I, we got along pretty well, and we were the two young kids that were pushing the limits and pushing the bar. So we kind of just rode together all the time. And the two session times at the local skate park for BMX were Tuesday and Saturday night. It's the Slam Factory in Wyong in the Central Coast. And we were just there. Jay and I were there every single session. Like, seriously, every single session. And just pushing it. And we would ride from 4 p.m. till 10 p.m. and just try to learn as many tricks as possible.
Yep.
And that was those early days.
When was the first time you threw a bike upside down?
So...
Because there's no foam pits, none of that back then.
There wasn't, but so Jay's parents, again, super awesome.
Oh, they wanted to beat you, so they built him a foam pit?
They did build him a foam pit. And on Jay's, I think, 14th birthday.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I was invited to go ride there all the time, so I mean, it wasn't that bad.
You could use it.
Yeah.
But so for his 14th birthday, they built him a foam pit, and what that meant was, a bunch of fencing, and we went to the flexible foam and rubber supply place and just got all their offcuts and just filled this box with foam and built a really ghetto kicker. And I remember the run-in for his foam pit was down the driveway, hard left, hard right, past the swimming pool, across the grass, and then into the foam pit. And dude, if you asked me to do that now, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Because in memory, I remember building a BMX track when we were a kid in the house I grew up from, and it was like literally you cut these trees and you had to remember the line, otherwise you were going to end up in the pool or in a fence or like
straight up. So Jay and I learnt flips in his foam pit, and then there was a amateur competition about an hour and a half, 2 hours from the house in Cessnock. And my mum brought some mattresses because she kind of had a bit of an inkling that we were going to try to take these bikes upside down on the concrete. And then some local BMX pros from Australia that were kind of local in the Sydney, Newcastle area, they just said to us, like, hey, like, they were growing up. We were like 15 and 14-year-old kids, so we're pretty small, and we're not even that big now, so we were tiny then. And these older guys were like, hey, like, if you guys try this flip, if you guys send it, we'll stand either side of the landing, and if you're going to land upside down, we'll just catch you. We'll just grab you out of the air because we were that little. So little baby Jay Toohey and little baby Andy Buckworth just sending flips to concrete like 2 weeks after we did it into the foam pit, and that was it. 2004 I think it was, and we did our first flips.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you came to America, you said you were 17 to Woodward? Which
Yep.
Woodward was it? Pennsylvania?
So Jay went, this is the rivalry here. So Jay gets a foam pit, I get a foam pit. Jay goes to Woodward, he went to Woodward West, and literally a week after, my mum sent me to Woodward East.
Yeah,
Good
wow.
call on that one,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
The East Coast one was better back in the day, right? Or are they kind of the same?
East Coast is bigger and it has more support and there's more skate parks, but West has the hangar. And for the time, like when we're talking 2007, 2008, 2006, 7, 8, the hangar was like the best skate park in America, really. It was like this awesome state-of-the-art ramp, this skate park with this giant box jump and an awesome spine and all, all the features that you'd be looking for. So Jay had the hangar, but I had Woodward East. Gary Ream was literally living at Woodward East when I was there. So so that was benefit on my side, in my favor.
And that's where you met Bestwick?
So yeah, I went as the camper, and they had this program back then called the TAP program, and they would select some riders each week of summer, because it's a summer camp, to come back and compete against each other at the end of the year. At the end, so the last week of summer, all the tapped kids would come and can compete against each other. And it just so happened that I was there for the tap week already, and then I got tapped the week prior, so I competed in these contests and ended up doing well in the contest, but it's not like that really stood much bearing in the grand scheme of things. But instead of getting a PlayStation, that was the prize, the PlayStation and a free week. Gary Ream was like, I didn't get any prizes, and I just figured like, oh well, I'm from Australia, I'm not going to come back for a free 1 week, and I can't take the PlayStation back to Australia. It's not going to...
Yeah, it doesn't everyone know the cords don't work.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Fucking useless.
So I actually didn't get a prize in the big ceremony, and I was like, whatever. And I was kind of like...
That sucks.
Yeah.
In those days, prizes were everything. The prize bag.
I'm a tiny little
And
kid.
raffles.
Yeah.
Raffles were even cool then, Like you wanted a backpack. Or
Well, imagine
a
when
sticker.
you're like a 17-year-old kid getting some swag was like the coolest thing. Like I got a sweatshirt and I got some stickers, but I didn't get a prize, and they just asked me to meet them in the office the next day for a meeting, and I thought I was in trouble. I shit you not, I thought I was in trouble for something.
Why, were you a bad kid on campus?
No, I actually wasn't. I got camper of the week, and
Yeah, you don't seem like you
wasn't
seem like
there-
best in class.
Wasn't there like something also going on with like Woodward East where there was like is it a figure skating or gymnastics also that's like part of it?
yeah, so they've got like an Olympic gymnastics
saying
program.
You mentioned the trouble thing. I don't know. Maybe he was sneaking over to the gymnastics side. Maybe
I'm
he
pretty
was,
sure everyone
maybe
was
he
sneaking
like,
over to the gymnastics
showing off
side.
some like nose manuals by the thing and like popping around.
So I went and met them in the office the next morning, and it turns out that I didn't get a prize because I wasn't getting a free week. I was getting a scholarship to Woodward. The only time they ever did this, but it was like, come back next year, first week, stay till December.
That shout out to
Holy
Woodward.
crap.
That's
Shout out to
sick.
Gary Ream. Like
He's
changed-
tight.
yeah.
Gary's cool,
Yeah, he
man.
changed my life.
I
yeah.
have I have a lot of respect for that dude, for what he's done for
action sports for everything.
And
yeah.
he still pushes it, Like he had a big deal to do with skateboarding, getting to the Olympics. He's still there,
Yeah, even though Woodward is sold, he's still like pushing. And so my deal was with Woodward was I could just be there, not work, not as like a dish dog or a counselor or a instructor or anything.
Guy hooking up with the gymnastics girls.
I was just there. I was just riding with all
I
the...
don't know. I'm just like, I think it's this Australian accent. You guys just like, hey, just come back and hang out all summer and tell us some jokes and
Pretty much.
yeah, like do that fun stuff, but be there with that energy and make sure everyone's having a good time. You're good.
Yeah.
I mean, Dingo will testify to this. Having an Australian accent in America is just like... It opens doors. Seriously,
Yeah.
everyone's like, say that again. Say that sentence again.
Oh, for sure. If you don't have an Australian friend in America right now, you're blowing it.
Yeah. Apparently I'm losing my accent.
You are. I've heard a few words. Over here.
Oh, so
No.
pizza.
Nah, pizza.
Nah, pizza.
Pizza, mate.
Pizza.
Nah, it's fucked because I did a podcast the other day and they were like, dude, you're like speaking 2 languages at the same time. And I don't even realize I'm doing it.
Well,
Dude, I'm trying to go home next week, so if that
It'll come
happens,
back.
it'll bounce right
it'll
back.
bounce
But it's
back.
been 2 years,
oh yeah, it's been a long time for me as well.
right? So it's
I'll catch myself. I'll say things like, I don't know, long time instead of long time.
right.
Just
People are now looking at me like Dingo, American Dingo. Like,
Yeah.
weird. No, I'm from Australia.
See, he just says weird instead of weird.
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 Your accent's not that thick either,
Yeah, I know. I had to learn to
Not like
enunciate so people could understand me.
right? Not like a Jacko or any of the guys.
Dude, I know.
He's the special unit.
He's your mate. Nah.
He's
Jacko's awesome, man. Like, everyone thinks Jacko is like just an FMXer, but he's a genius.
he's gnarly. Have
He's
you ever flown an
gnarly.
airplane with him?
I have not. I actually would. I'd trust him to fly
Dude,
me around.
so
He's so smart. He's like a genius.
This is like a couple years ago. We did a piece up on his property, and he's like, "Oh no, mate, I'll come pick you up from your local airport." So like, tell him like by like Moorabbin. Fuck, I don't even know where we were. Anyway, it's an airport where it took me and my dad like half an hour to find the airport because it's a tin shed.
Yeah. Yeah. Straight up.
My dad's like, "Are you sure this is the right, like, you know?" And I'm like, "Sure thing, you know." This like thing comes down. We couldn't fit my bag in the airplane. Like, we're kicking my bag into the airplane. My dad's like, "Are you sure? Like, you should be getting in an airplane with this guy."
How was it though? I bet it was fine.
Man, it was great. The first time I flew with him was scary as shit because I'd never been in a plane that small, and you're with Jacko. So there's like two. You're like, all right, I'm in a tiny airplane.
He's like, let's do a loop. Let's do a loop real quick.
So when he picked me up and then drove me, because you land on his property.
Yeah.
Like, you literally fly around his house and just land on a dirt strip. It's like as Aussie as it gets. And that first trip I did with him I was definitely nervous. You know, every bump, and I'm just like looking at the ground, like I was scared as shit. And then the next day we went out and we did the loops and the flips, and I trust him. I know he's calculated.
Yeah.
All you guys are. It's like you guys are like these like
It's like calculated mayhem.
Exactly. You guys are like geniuses that have a plan, and if you didn't know you could pull it off, you wouldn't do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I know
yeah,
that,
Yeah,
you know?
straight up. And I mean, on top of that, Jacko is actually like a genius. Like, he built his own hyperbaric chamber.
But it's also he locked me in that thing.
Yeah.
He farted and then locked me in there.
See, calculated mayhem right there. You know?
The crazy thing though, we were in the air and he's like, "Yeah, if anything goes wrong, like you take the air parachute because there's only one, and I'll just go down with the plane." I'm like, "What?"
Dude, that's...
I would have put that on immediately. I would have been like, all right, cool, I'm down to that. Click, click.
Okay, which one do I pull real quick? Dude, I don't know if you saw recently on Jacko's Instagram, but he's building his own plane right now.
Yeah.
From scratch, from
Yeah,
nothing.
that's what he wants to do.
Just building a plane. Like, what a genius. I wouldn't be able to do that.
What's your plan? Do you have any other like what hobbies do you have outside of riding that bike?
I love, it's super random, but I love buying and selling watches.
Yeah,
And-
you always
Yeah.
Let me see your wrist. What do you got there?
AP.
Gnarly.
Super heavy. But yeah, I love watches, and it's kind of something that's always fascinated me. That's all the little mechanisms inside, and the mechanical watches, obviously, tickle my fancy, because I like all the little gears and all how it works, and I just love like learning all the different things and ins and outs, and it's fascinating to me to see like, it's kind of like stock, like watching the price skyrocket for no particular
reason. Rolex just had a run, right? Like over this pandemic, like
insane.
Everything kind of like there's only a certain amount he made has gone through the roof. But you were definitely the first BMXer I saw consistently running different Rolex.
Yeah. Well, because I was obviously buying them in the gray market, because you can't get them from the boutique, you can't get them from the store, they just don't exist.
What's the gray market?
The gray market is like if these people that do have an in with the company and they are getting flowed these watches at the MSRP price, they just put whatever price they want on it and sell it on OfferUp or Marketplace or from a storefront or a jewelry store or just whatever. They just sell it. So like, just for example, like a Rolex Daytona is like probably the hardest Rolex to get, the stainless steel one. It'll sell for $13,000 from the boutique or from the authorized dealer, but it'll sell for like $37,000 to $40,000 in the gray market, because people that want the item, that have enough money to buy the item, are willing to just pay whatever the price is to have it today.
Yeah.
Instead of being, because like, for example, to get a Daytona, you have to have like a really long purchase history with the authorized dealer, or you just know someone that gets you an in, and it's like, it's just impossible to get it at the retail price. So people are willing to pay whatever you're asking. Yeah, that's the gray market.
I got a guy you should meet in Tijuana. He sells some really good priced Rolexes.
Really good ones.
Well, I don't. You would know the gear mechanics of them a little bit better, but we did years ago. I did buy like 3 or 4 of them, and we had like a friend come over from Korea, I think Afro Mike. And anyways, I gifted him this Rolex, but I'd only paid $50 for it.
Yeah, let me tell
And
you
I was
something,
like,
Danny. That
didn't
Rolex
tell-
ain't real.
Well, you know what? He believed it was real, and he was so thankful that it was so hard. I couldn't even go back on it and tell him that it wasn't real, because at that point I
man.
was like, "This is insane."
When did you start doing when did X Games start doing dirt competitions?
So I actually started my X Games career with Mega Ramp.
You did?
Yeah, so because of the Nitro Circus thing and doing the double front flip, etc., I 2010 I rode Mega and I got bronze. So that was my rookie year. I took bronze, and then, like I was saying,
Was that in at the Staples Center?
Yes, no, it was at the Coliseum.
Coliseum, like
Yeah.
shitload of people.
Yeah, like little
Yeah.
kid from Australia, you
Yeah.
know, in the big smoke, just like, what is happening? This is
Yeah.
insane. But like I was explaining to Danny earlier, I was just like, X Games has kind of been my kryptonite. It's do well at all the other events, come to X Games and just die.
Yeah.
And that was, 2010 I got bronze, and then I'd learnt a few double front flip variations, like the no-hander and the Superman double front flip, that I was happy and stoked to bring to X Games 2011. Right before X Games, I ruptured my spleen. And so my cutoff date to like start riding again was literally a week after X Games. And X Games, obviously liability, whatever, they weren't allowed to let me ride on a ruptured spleen without getting doctor clearance, and the doctor wouldn't clear me to ride, so I wasn't able to ride. So I just had to miss 2011. And then, super random, 2012, didn't get an invite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, X Games.
Dang.
Yeah, but then I ended up getting an alternate spot and got thrown in there super last minute, so I had no like real practice, and just kind of completely blew it in 2012. And then it's kind of just been like this rolling thing over the years where it's like always get broke off right before or at X Games, but shook that bad luck off this year finally.
Dude, he won gold this year.
Finally.
I saw that
Life.
on the dirt.
Lifelong goal achieved. Like that, you don't understand what that means to me.
Did you think that was gonna happen?
Absolutely not. I had kind of come to terms with, I got a bronze medal, that's cool. Like, obviously, growing up in Australia riding, the only thing that we really get to see, like, maybe if you have Foxtel, you'll see at Gravity Games or an X Games. Like, maybe. Otherwise, you're just looking at magazines. And the only thing we really knew what was going on was X Games. So growing up, it was like, I want to ride at X Games. I want to ride in an X Games. And then to get a bronze and then just kind of blow it every year, it was like, forever, I just wanted a gold medal at X Games. I just wanted to win gold. I wanted to win an X Games, be a part of X Games, solidify my kind of spot in an X Games throughout the years. And it was just, I had come to terms with that wasn't going to happen, because I was like, I'm 31 now, and all these new school kids are just absolutely killing it. Like, these kids on BMX bikes now, like, they're insane. There's a couple of kids coming up. Bryce Tryon, he's a monster kid, and Jacob Fee and Jeremy Malott just signed with Monster. And these kids are like,
Yeah, Jeremy's a savage.
they are unbelievable. The stuff that Jeremy can do, just like that. I just did shows with him in Miami and doing school shows and like Art Basel shows, and he's just doing.
How was that?
Art Basel was sick.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And Jeremy is just doing all the craziest tricks in a show just because he can. And like, so I had just come to terms that, yeah, like, cool, I got a bronze. I have to be happy with that. Let's start looking for what I'm going to do after BMX. Let's kind of like be part of BMX and just kind of ride out my days, keep pushing. And then I got the house and built the ramp, and I just felt really good on my bike again. And boom, win a gold medal. It's just the coolest thing.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big, like a lot of athletes, when they get competing for many years, you start to kind of feel like that, where you're like, all right, maybe I won't be there. And then it's cool to hear that, because it really is like you prove yourself wrong, which I think is like a hard thing to do.
I think at a competition, you're your own biggest critic and your own biggest enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you would go into the contest being like, I have to do all the gnarliest stuff. But the people doing all the gnarliest stuff, you see the trick, but then they land and they blow their feet off, they blow their hands, they crash, and that run doesn't count. Like, when you're talking X Games or like Do Tour or Gravity Games or big competitions, Feast, the Olympics, if you're crashing or blowing your foot off, it just doesn't count. But from a competitor looking at the other competitor, you're like, damn, that guy's riding better than I am. But you kind of fail to reassure yourself like, hey, he crashed. So it's maybe not about doing the biggest and best trick. It's about just landing what you can do for sure in a competition run. And that's kind of been my nemesis as well, is just not taking a step back, taking a breath and being like, okay, I'll do a little less to land everything. I've just been like balls to the wall. Let's go. Let's do everything I know how to do. And that's kind of, I mean, I did do one of my hardest tricks. It was a no-handed double flip on the second to last jump, which was harder than the last jump. So all of that came into play, but a lot of other people crashed and missed their trick and blew their feet off. And yeah, I don't even know what else to say other than it was just the best feeling. Like 20 years of work just narrowed down to that one moment.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is the best thing. I didn't even know what to do afterwards. Once I had it in my hand, I was like, now what?
Now you're like, huh. All right, let's do that again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want this again, but it's like, you know, you go home and you just don't know what to do. You're just like, 20 years of work has come to this moment where I'm holding this tiny little thing in my hand.
Yeah.
I thought it would be heavier.
Yeah.
It's not that heavy.
So just to go back a minute, when you were talking about the big air, like when you first entered X Games, was there like any difference in like the build? Because I've seen some of the mega ramp builds in the parking lot, and watching it from the bottom and you guys go up there, like what is, like, take us through like that feeling of some of those, like the first few drop-ins on like
So
the real mega.
anyone that's watching this or listening to this and that hasn't gone up to the top of the mega ramp, that thing is crazy.
Crazy.
Like, you've been up there.
Yeah.
I've seen you up there.
Yeah.
You've been up there with me. It was Austin or something. It's high. Like, it's really high. If you think of going to, I don't know, like the 10th floor or the 13th floor of an apartment complex and look out the window, like, oh, that's pretty high. But imagine being outside at that high with no railings.
Yeah.
And you're kind of on this swaying scaffold structure with this bike between your legs, and you're just staring down this insanely steep roll in. And I mean, I don't care how much of a veteran or a professional or whatever you think you are, if you're up there on a bike or a skateboard, it is crazy. Like that first jump after not riding the mega ramp for a year, because it only exists at X Games. So when you're just there and you're looking down, you're like, well, damn, holy shit, this thing is massive. And then the way that the jump's set up really isn't a BMX jump. It's just like super mellow. It's built to throw you forward, not up in the air. And I'm used to dirt jumps that throw me up in the air. So, I mean, it's like you're going insanely fast and you just shoot off that takeoff and then you just land sooner than you think. And then that quarter pipe is 28 feet tall.
Yeah.
What's the feeling like the first time you rolled over? Because you're committed. There's no uncommitting, right? Like you're in.
Yeah, straight up. And I'd hands down never been that fast on my bike before. So I was
do you have brakes on this bike?
I do have brakes on this bike, and that was my mistake. Is I was like, there is no way that I need to be going this fast for anything. So as you know, I was 20 years old, never jumped anything like that in my life, never gone that fast on my bike before. I just braked. I just brake checked right before the takeoff. And I did a flip because, I mean, this may sound wild to non-riders, but doing a flip on a bike over a long distance is easier than jumping straight.
It's the same on a snowboard.
Yeah.
Straight airing on a snowboard on a fucking 60-foot
I mean, I agree.
jump,
Like
70-foot jump is no
spinning
fun.
takes the fear away of like staring at that like knuckle.
Because what happens when you straight air, there's so many more things that can go wrong. And
Well,
if you know you're going to undershoot,
like this,
you're looking at it.
Stuck like this.
Yeah.
So I'm upside down. I pull and I'm like, oh my God, this jump's massive. And as I come around, I'm just staring at not even the knuckle. I'm staring at the flat deck. Like I under jumped that thing by like probably 13 feet. I just landed front wheel heavy, 13 feet back from the landing. I just didn't make the distance at all. It's because I brake checked, but I was made of rubber back then. I was 20 years old and just bounced, and I went straight back to the top and was okay. Like I need to go faster than what I thought I was. So I ended up started cranking, pedaling down this 70-foot roll in as fast as I can, and just, dude, there's nothing that can beat that feeling of just being upside down over, because the jump used to be 70 feet long.
Oh, they made it smaller?
Yeah, they've made it smaller since then.
Is the quarter pipe smaller?
No, just the jump's a little
So it's
shorter.
like a safety thing?
It's just it was just more calculated for skateboarding and BMX. And just everything.
It's not Danny Way and Bob Burnquist's recipe.
When it was in Staples Center and when it was in Barcelona indoors, it was all good, like at that distance. But as soon as you get it in Austin, in that
Outside, the wind, that must have changed everything.
The wind and the humidity and everything changed. Everything changed.
And how much like bigger? Because I know you said you did a lot of the Nitro Circus before that. So because from looking at the videos, it's like hard to tell how big the jump is in comparison, because seems like the drop-ins are smaller. But...
So yeah, the drop-ins definitely smaller. And then if we do like a big tour where we have the multiple jumps, our big jump, which we call the next level ramp, it's insanely tall. Like it's 12 or 13 feet tall. So it's 12 foot tall, 13 feet off the ground. So it's built on a platform. And then the roll-in is like 36 feet. I don't know if that's correct. It's just what I think I remember. So about 36 foot high roll-in, maybe 40-foot roll-in. And then the jump is 38 feet long with a 22-foot tall landing. So we're talking like a giant jump that's just like a dirt jump. But it's just like the biggest dirt jump you could ever imagine, made of wood. So the jump's completely different. Pitches you insanely high. You're not traveling as far forward, and there's not a 28-foot quarter pipe in front of you.
That's got to feel nice.
Yeah.
We went on vacation last summer together.
We did. Wasn't that a good time?
What?
Yeah, we to Lake Powell. There was like a group of 50
I
of us.
I saw this video.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I want to, like, we're in Lake Powell. It's beautiful. These rocks into the water, and it's like super deep. So Andy, like, one day he's like, gets his bike.
If you haven't seen Lake Powell, anyone that's listening to this, just Google it real quick. You understand. It looks like you're on Mars. Like,
I'm gonna have him drop this video.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, or just rent some Girls Gone Wild from your local VHS store if you want to see what Lake Powell looks like.
But anyway, go on, Dingo.
And Andy's like, I'm gonna go do this. Like, I'm gonna go find somewhere to jump off the fucking
off a cliff with your bike.
Yeah, into the water.
This motherfucker rolls in, flips like 50 feet into the water first try.
Like, it was tall. It was like
maybe in 60 feet. It was gnarly.
It's a big cliff.
Fully gets winded, like almost like drowned. Like,
yeah. So like, I didn't anticipate. I put like a flotation device on my bicycle, which means as soon as you hit the water, the bike just stops.
And it have us, what is that, like floaties on the handlebars? What kind of...
We just got a life jacket and wrapped around the handlebars.
Okay, great.
But
we improvised.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's got to be somewhat have us sewn up.
Yeah. So I front flip off this cliff and I land in the water and the handlebars just jab me in the sternum, knocks all the wind out of me. And as soon as I'm winded, I'm sinking because I got no wind in my body to like keep me above the water. And I'm trying to hold onto the bike, which is also sinking, except for this tiny little floaty that we put on the handlebars. And I'm like, just got my head above the water and I just like make a negative sounding noise. And thank goodness for Parks Bonifay. He knows how to drive a boat, that guy.
He's legit.
He's legit.
He's a legit psychopath.
Tiny little corridor of this little finger of the river, and like the boat is probably wider than the corridor, and he somehow just whips that thing around, and he just had me out of the water, like obviously before I drowned because I'm sitting right here. But he's a legend. He knows how to drive a boat.
He does know how to drive a boat. He also knows how to send a firework and light the hill on fire. We almost burnt Havasu down.
No, Lake Powell.
Oh, Lake Powell, sorry.
Wrong place. But yeah, you should drop those footage too.
I don't think we should drop that footage. We had fireworks there, so people shoot fireworks off, and there was a firework that we shot at the rocks, and then it hit the bushes, and then the bushes lit on fire.
Yeah.
And then we launched a huge fire in Lake Powell. Like 100-foot flames.
And Jordan and I had already like turned in for the night, and then we just hear all this commotion. Running on and off boats. I gotta get the fire extinguisher, and just like everyone freaking out. So we get back out of bed, we come out, and we're just like, oh my goodness. Because you're in the middle of nowhere, so there's no light pollution. You can see every star, every alien.
Yeah, we saw aliens.
Allegedly.
We believe in aliens.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, now apparently we are the aliens, so we're fine.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's the latest.
I believe it.
That's my big theory is like, are aliens out there or are we the aliens?
Well,
You know what I mean?
you're gonna be an alien to them, and they're an alien to us.
Because there's like archaeology of like old drawings of spaceships from like 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And they look just like what Elon Musk is making right now.
See, there's no difference.
Well,
The fire we
But I'm glad you
created,
didn't
though,
burn. Glad you didn't start it.
It was crazy because then like it was like the divide of the trip. There were like people that were mad that it happened,
and then people
like,
that were stoked.
the people were stoked, and then there were people that were like firefighters and people putting the fire out. Like MGK like had like no, he ran in there with like no shoes on and his feet burnt and was like, everyone was.
Dude, if Ryan Sheckler ever wants to stop skateboarding, he could be a firefighter.
I think his dad. No, I don't think his dad. He could be. Ryan would be a great firefighter.
He knew what he was doing. He was like, "We got to stop it over here. We got to do this," and he was like,
Louis Vito was like had the face mask on.
But I just remember vividly that Sheckler took control of that fire, and he was on it. He knew exactly what he was doing. That thing was out real quick.
He was on it.
That was a good trip.
That was one of the best vacations I've ever had.
That was so freaking good.
We missed out this year. We blew the spot up. We couldn't rent boats. Everybody rented the boats. There was no boats to rent.
So like we tried to go again this year, and we couldn't get boats until October 2022.
Danny's a little mad he wasn't on that trip.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing the underwear. You know.
Oh, the Palapalooza underwear.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get on there. Every week I put up a different Ethica underwear shot, trying to get invited on this trip.
You guys could probably search the hashtag Palapalooza and find some of these pictures.
Yeah, we're gonna grab that video of you doing that front flip because that's one of the I've consistently seen you do stuff like that over the years, but that was gnarly.
Thank you. I mean,
did you know you were gonna front flip into it?
Absolutely not.
When did you make that decision?
So the idea was we were going to go find something that looked like a quarter pipe or a jump, and I was going to ride the rocks, like the actual rocks. But then it looks really smooth from a distance, but then when you get up close, it really didn't work out as well as what it looks from a distance. So I was just like, okay, well, it's kind of like a little, you'll see in the video, but it's kind of like a little uphill here. And I was like, maybe I could like pull for a flip, like a side flip into the water. But then I was like, damn, if I get stuck upside down, it's 60, 40, 50, 60 feet. I'm going to land upside down, and that's probably not a good idea. But I know that I can almost bunny hop front flip. So I was like, a front flip is definitely going to come around, but I didn't want to over rotate.
Yep.
So I was like kind of nervous. And on the way in, I said, screw it. I'm just going to front flip right now. And just, there's the clip.
So cool. What's coming up?
So the year's over. Like we're wrapping up to Christmas now. I'm about to do a road trip with my girlfriend to Texas to spend Christmas with her family, and we're going to stop at skate parks. I did it last year and made like an Instagram clip of just kind of riding all different skate parks on the way to Texas. And one of the clips from that actually got 3.3 million views on my Instagram. So, I mean, it was really cool to go visit concrete skate parks. I feel like my viewers kind of can relate to just riding concrete skate parks. So gonna do that road trip again, try and find some cool things to ride, and then contests start again in 20th of January.
Isn't that crazy that like you can create something, and especially like on a BMX or a skateboard or a snowboard or whatnot, that like people, it's and that's where I think you do differently too. You'll take what you do and put it into a park or whatnot. Nobody's ever seen that before, and it can create these viral moments.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody has seen a double flip on a box jump before, a 360 double tail whip to bar spin, no hander. We know some sort of combination on the perfect setup, like a perfect box jump and a perfect speed, perfect everything. But if you can then go to a concrete skate park or a random dirt hit somewhere and do one of these wild tricks, people are just like, damn, that he had to figure out the speed himself, he figured out the line to get in there. I mean, I think that's what people can relate to. They're like, I've been to that skate park, I've seen that jump, and it's not as small, or it's bigger than it looks, or it's smaller, whatever. And they can kind of feel like, oh, maybe I can go to that skate park myself and check that out. Whereas if it's in Pat Casey's backyard, it's not like any Joe Blow can just show up to Pat's house and come session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about your house? Can any Joe Blow come to your house and session?
Seriously, man, I would love that. Just kind of hit me up on Instagram. Let's ride.
Hell yeah. You should do like one day out of the year where you're like, it's my open.
Let's go.
Because your house is right by Casey's, right?
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes.
Oh, maybe a little after party over at Casey's.
Yeah, right.
Unannounced.
Dude, Pat Casey's house sick. You've been there.
Pat Casey's house is sick.
It's got the pool there, the hot tub, the dirt jumps, the skate park. Like, damn, X Games there was so cool.
It was cool, right? And
I
now
really enjoyed
you ended up with Bieber's wood at your house.
Yeah, that was super random. One of the ramp builders that builds at Pat's house hit me up and was like, "Hey, you want to build a skate park?" And I was like, "Absolutely, like let's do it." And he was like, "Well, I just finished up with this Justin Bieber concert and I've got all of his skate light. Like, let's build a ramp." And I had no idea that meant that once the ramp was built and the skate light goes on, there's just Justin Bieber written all over the ramp. Justin Bieber and friends, Justin Bieber. It's just all written all over. But it's kind of pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story. And we're hopefully going to film a Monster Energy video there in January and do some cool things and have like the whole crew come and just really blow the spot up and get all the lines down and do some wild tricks and wild clips.
Sick.
Yeah, you should come.
I can come, dude. I'm down. Anything, you just let me know. I'm there.
I like that.
What we do here is Danny has this like lightning round that we like to like finish with. You got to be pretty quick with your answers. He like stays up pretty late working on these.
And I tape them together too.
Quite the
My
artsy guy,
friends.
huh?
Yeah, I try. Big shout out to Justin Bieber for
Massive
being
shout
into
out to Justin
skating,
Bieber.
giving us the wood. All right. I got to start over here.
You going backwards?
Well, because I spun them around.
He can read the back of them now.
If you had your own monster flavor, what would it taste like?
Ooh, like melon, like a Dingo will know, but like Midori, the taste that Midori is, that's delicious.
Oh, that sounds good. Sounds like a dessert.
Mm.
Also, how big of a can would it be? Because I want to see one like, would it be bigger than a Foster's can?
No, I would do like a 355 millimeter, just like a smaller.
A small one?
Yeah. Because
Oh.
Shooter.
just like you can just down that thing and drink like multiple a day. Because no one wants to, I mean, some people, but I don't want to drink like a giant Foster's can size of drink right away. And then, then the bubbles go away, it goes all flat and it's not cold anymore. By the time you get to the bottom of the can, it's not even cold. So let's do a little one and you can just down that thing.
All right. What is the scariest big air jump you've ever dropped into?
Ooh. Honestly, anytime I do a double front flip nowadays, post that rupture of my spinal cord, like anytime I do a double front flip, it is terrifying. But anything that's terrifying when you land it, it's just so rewarding. Like that's what we live for.
If Elon Musk invited you on his spaceship, would you go?
Duh. Are you kidding me? I would take my phone, take all the photos, and snap photos that the Earth is round, not flat.
Grab that Dogecoin.
That's what I was
go.
saying. How long did you practice the first double front flip with no hands? And did you start with one hand?
I actually landed at first go, and that's not brag or anything. It was just a kind of a fluke. Pastrana like really amped me up. He was like, "Take the hands off, you can do it." And yeah, Pastrana was just like fueling the fire.
Do you like squeeze the bike with your legs?
Yeah.
Too?
So like the preparation of a front flip is you do a front flip and then you do a front flip no hander, then a front flip Superman or a Bossman, whatever, whatever tricks you're comfortable with, you put it in the front flip, and that's the progression. And I would always do front flip no handers. So Pastrana was like, "Let's go."
Mm-hmm.
24,000 people in the crowd. Hamilton, New Zealand wants to see it. Let's see you take those hands off. And boom, it happened first go.
Take those hands off.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a possibility we'll see the triple front flip?
Ryan Williams has already done it. And
But to like an
airbag landing, like a resi landing. I think doing a triple front flip to wood would be aggressive because just the intensity that he lands at, the rotational speed, that would be really something to see. But if anyone's going to do it, it's Ryan Williams. He is a freak on a BMX bike. He's a savage.
Most inspiring BMXer of all time?
Ooh, dude, it has to be Dave Mirra, man.
Yeah.
Like, Miracle Boy. R.I.P. He's the man. He was actually my first bike sponsor, Miracle Bikes.
Oh, that's cool.
Got to spend a bit of time with Dave and ride Dave's warehouse all the time. Traveled to France with him, and he's an inspiration for sure. Like, he really took BMX to a whole new level, like on and off the bike. And yeah, great dude. Love the dude. Miss him.
Who is the hottest BMX talent coming out of Australia right now?
Well, I mean, it has to be Logan Martin. Look at that savage. Wins the first ever Olympics with his practice run. He just kind of like sleeps through his run and just dominates. Logan is like the most consistent, and there's so many gnarly riders coming from Australia. Brandon Lupos as well. Like Lupos is a savage. Like when he puts his run together, like Lupos is unbeatable.
Yeah.
But Logan is the super consistent one.
Yeah.
So I mean, between Logan and Brandon, it's just like, damn, like Australia has solidified their Olympic medals for many, many years, I believe.
What is the sketchiest obstacle you've ever flipped?
So the US Open of Surf had a skate BMX contest, like Vans put on the bowl contest there. One year the spine came along and it bubbled out into like an eyeball, and they put coping on it, which had like a little bonk to it, and the eyeball was about this tall, and it had the same transition takeoff as landing, and it was about 5 feet long. And someone put it in my head that it'd be a good idea to double flip it, and I did, and that's forever going to be the dumbest, weirdest, scariest thing to double flip.
And okay, and the final question, what song or artist is it that you listen to that makes you try some of this crazy shit for the first time?
That changes up all the time, but I was on this huge MGK kick when the new album came on, and when new album came out, and
You were at the first listening party at the
I
boat.
was, yeah. So we went and listened to it, and I was just like, damn, this is like what I grew up with, kind of like punk rock, a little bit of Blink-182 feeling, and it's like new school, old school. It was just like everything that I am, new school, old school. Can't really figure out what age I am, so I was like, it was really cool. Like I like this, and I was into it, and so I was on an MGK kick for the longest time, and now I just kind of mix it up, just whatever. Migos are sick, like hearing all the DMX stuff come back after RIP again.
cool.
Yeah, I've been on a serious DMX kick too.
Yeah,
and
so-
finding like new old songs.
Exactly,
Like The
stuff that I've-
Rain. Have you heard The Rain?
That
DMX The
actually,
Rain?
I just tell Alexa, like, Alexa, play DMX, and that came on the other day. It's sick.
You're like, what?
Yeah, I was like, and
Only I can stop the rain.
if you're just like riding the yard and having a sick session, and then a new song that you haven't heard comes on, you kind of associate the song with the cool session, and it makes the song better. The song makes the session better. It's kind of like works in perfect harmony. And yeah, I love listening to the new school, old school, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you.
Yeah. Andy
And-
Buckworth.
And Andy Buckworth said it there. If you want to get better at BMX, MGK and DMX all day.
Yep. From one dingo to another. We appreciate you, mate.
I got a question for you though. Did you eat the baby?
Did you?
I didn't, but did you?
Yeah, I might have.
You might have eaten the baby.
Yeah, I'm on the baby eating side for
Yeah,
sure.
but she was definitely over 18.
Unleashed with the Dingo and Danny. Fueled by Monster Energy.